I've never been good at sleeping before a big day. And the next morning was supposed to be the biggest of all, the launch of Project Heliopolis, humanity's first attempt at creating a stable wormhole conduit. As chief systems architect, I'd spent the last 6 years living, breathing, and occasionally dreaming quantum lattice algorithms. So naturally, my brain refused to shut down. I tossed, turned, stared at my ceiling, tried breathing exercises, the whole bit. At 12:03 a.m., my bedside lamp flickered. At first I thought it was another power hiccup. The city grid had been shaky all week, but then the light didn't dim. It shifted, brightened, bent. It felt like the glow was stretching toward me, twisting into a shimmering column in the center of my room. I bolted upright. My mouth opened. No sound came out. The air split with a soundless ripple, like reality inhaling. Then she stepped through. She was tall, easily 7 feet, with skin like polished obsidian overlaid by faint swirling constellations. Her eyes glowed an impossible gold, not like pupils, but like miniature suns. Draped around her was something halfway between armor and gown, shifting in texture like fluid metal. She studied me as though scanning every molecule I had ever been composed of. Then she spoke directly into my mind. Do not be afraid, Terran. I am Empress Veilthera of the Astrix Dominion. My brain scrambled for any appropriate reaction. The best I managed was, You broke into my apartment. Her head tilted, confused. I crossed the veil between our realms. Your dwelling was incidental.
Great.
I'd just been incidentaled by a cosmic monarch. My breath finally shook loose. What do you want? She stepped closer. Each footfall sounded like a harmonic note vibrating through my bones. Your world stands on the threshold of a catastrophic awakening, she said. Your wormhole experiment must not proceed. I blinked.
Hard.
What? The Heliopolis launch? No, this is the most controlled, most modeled test ever conceived. There's zero catastrophic anything. Her eyes flared. I am here because your calculations are wrong. My disbelief battled with the primal terror screaming to leap out the window. Okay, I said slowly. Suppose you're real. Suppose I'm not dreaming. You came across galaxies to tell me my math is off. Not your math, she corrected. Your assumptions. She raised a hand, and my bedroom dissolved into a swirl of stars. Suddenly, I stood beside her in a floating vision space, a hologram of the wormhole reactor spinning before us. At first, it looked exactly like our model. Then it twisted into something monstrous, an eye-like singularity expanding uncontrolled. The vision swallowed a planet whole. And then, Veilthera added softly, This is what awaits your world if the gate is opened unbounded. I felt a chill crawl from my spine, through every nerve ending. But that's impossible. The energy output, the collapse symmetry, it's stable. In your dimension, she said. Not in ours. The simulation faded, and my bedroom snapped back. I stumbled, dizzy.
She wasn't finished.
I did not come to scare you, she said. I came because I need your help. I swallowed. Help? With what? The Empress stepped even closer, so close I could see entire galaxies shimmering beneath her skin. I need you to stop the launch. Tomorrow morning, before your world tears a hole into mine. Middle, the Empress's warning. I sat heavily on the edge of my bed, trying to breathe, trying to think. You're asking me to sabotage a multinational scientific milestone, I said. I am asking you to save your species, she corrected. She didn't blink the entire time. Maybe she didn't need to. Why me? I asked. Because you understand the lattice algorithms deeply enough to alter them. Because you hold access authority unmatched by your colleagues. And because her voice softened, almost hesitant. Because you are the only human whose mind resonated with my call. Okay, that part was weirdly flattering. And terrifying. I rubbed my temples. If this danger is real, why not just warn the world? Appear on global broadcasts or something. Her expression darkened. If I were to reveal myself fully, your governments would attempt to capture me. Your world is not ready for us. Not politically, not socially, not spiritually. I risked everything coming here. Her gaze drifted to the window, as though she were seeing the entire planet at once. My empire has encountered other worlds that attempted what yours attempts tomorrow. All but one destroyed themselves. The surviving world lives in a shattered half-dimension, forever anchored to ours. We cannot allow such a bond again. She turned back to me. You must stop the wormhole. The enormity of her words pressed against my lungs until breathing felt optional. But if I'm wrong, I whispered, I doom the entire project. My career. My reputation. The future of interstellar science. If you are wrong, she said gently, you will be remembered as the human who prevented annihilation. She paused. If you are right, your people will never know how close they came to oblivion. I stood up. Or tried. My knees were jelly. Show me. Show me more than visions. I need proof. Veilthara's eyes dimmed slightly. Exhaustion? Relief? I couldn't tell. She reached out a hand. Then come. The room rippled again. Not a teleportation, something deeper. She pulled aside a curtain I didn't know reality had. Suddenly, I was standing in a cosmic corridor, stars swirling vertically like light-weaving waterfalls. My body felt weightless, yet grounded by some invisible field. Beyond the corridor's transparent boundary was a vast structure, an interstellar citadel the size of continents, built around a glowing rift in space. Ships of impossible geometry drifted like celestial manta rays. The Astrix Dominion, she said. My empire. The rift you see is what remains of a world that attempted an uncontrolled wormhole. The rift was a jagged, pulsing wound. Its edges crackled. Matter warped around it like a living scream. I swallowed hard. You live next to that? We contain it. Barely. We have for 10,000 cycles. I stared at the devastation. At the scale of it. At the thought that our experiment, my work, could open something like that. My voice trembled. Okay. I believe you. She nodded once, solemnly, and the corridor dissolved. We were back in my room. Why not destroy our wormhole apparatus remotely? I asked suddenly. Your technology is clearly beyond ours. Her jaw tightened. Interfering with developing species is forbidden. Even contact is forbidden. To change your destiny directly would violate the Accord of Realms. But guiding a willing individual, she looked directly at me, is permitted. So, I'm a loophole. Her lips curved just slightly. You are unique. I don't know how long I stood there processing everything. Minutes? Hours? Time felt meaningless under the weight of what she'd shown me. Finally, I said, tell me exactly what I need to do. Her golden eyes brightened. And she told me. The sabotage. The infiltration plan wasn't as dramatic as I expected. No explosions. No shutting down the facility. Nothing that would raise alarms. I only had to alter a single quantum coil parameter, lower the resonance threshold by 0.0032. That tiny shift would prevent the wormhole from reaching stable ignition. The team would assume it was an internal fault and postpone the test for months. We arrived at the facility at 4:17 a.m. I drove. Veilthara didn't need a vehicle, but she stood beside me, invisibly cloaked in a refractive veil. People couldn't see her unless she allowed it. Her presence shimmered in my peripheral vision, a comforting, terrifying shadow. Security knew me. No one suspected a thing. Inside the control chamber, I sat at the terminal pretending to review the launch checklist. Executing her plan meant bypassing 2 encrypted subsystems and making the change during a narrow 12-second window when the system cross-checked itself. My fingers hovered over the keyboard. "Are you certain?" I whispered. "Yes," she answered in my mind. "This is the only way." I exhaled sharply and typed the sequence. The system flashed warnings, brief, silent, suppressed by the override code she'd given me. I adjusted the coil parameter. The system auto-corrected. I forced it again. The 12-second window closed. It was done. I leaned back, heart pounding. Valthara's voice brushed my thoughts. "You have saved your world." But as I looked at the massive wormhole reactor through the observation glass, humming, glowing, waiting, I felt no relief. I felt dread, because what I'd done could be discovered, investigated. And if the team found deliberate tampering, my career wasn't the only thing on the line. "Let's go," I whispered. We slipped out unnoticed, ending what she really wanted. Back in my apartment, dawn creeping through my curtains, I finally turned to the Empress. "It's done. The launch will fail safely. They'll postpone it." She nodded. "Your universe has avoided destruction." But something lingered in her expression, an unease I hadn't seen before. "What happens now?" I asked. She hesitated.
"Now."
I returned to the Astrix Dominion. Something in my chest tightened unexpectedly. Over the course of a single night, she'd become not a friend, exactly, but a presence I wasn't ready to lose. "You said you needed my help," I said softly. "Is that all?" Her golden eyes met mine. For the first time, they seemed vulnerable. "Not all." She stepped closer, galaxies shifting beneath her skin. "There is one more reason I came to you." My pulse quickened. "What reason?" Her voice lowered almost to a whisper in my mind. "Your world is remarkable in its youth, and its people possess qualities my empire fears it has lost." She touched her palm gently to my forehead. My mind filled with images, her empire's rigid order, the crushing burden of ruling an interstellar civilization, the loneliness of a leader who had never been allowed to choose her own path. When she withdrew her hand, my breath shook. "You're lonely," I said softly. She didn't deny it. "I can't go with you," I said, though part of me wondered. "I know." She reached into the air and drew out a small crystalline sphere, glowing faintly with the same color as her eyes. "This is a quantum attunement shard. It will allow me to speak to you across the veil. Only words, never influence." She closed my fingers around it. "If ever your world attempts the wormhole again, call to me." I swallowed the lump in my throat. "Will I ever see you again?" Her smile was sad and radiant all at once. "The veil between our worlds is vast, but even vast distances can bend for those who resonate." She stepped back toward the center of the room. The air shivered around her. "Goodbye, Terran. Goodbye, Empress." The light expanded, enveloping her in swirling constellations, then collapsed into a single point and vanished with a soft, sonic sigh. My room fell silent. The shard in my hand pulsed once, then dimmed. Outside, the first rays of morning touched the horizon. I sat on the edge of my bed, exhausted, shaken, transformed. In a few hours, my team would discover the malfunction. In a few days, I'd endure scrutiny. In a few weeks, the project would reset. But none of that mattered compared to what I now knew. The universe was far larger and far more fragile, than humanity had ever imagined. And somewhere across that vastness, an alien empress had chosen me to trust. I closed my hand around the shard. Whatever came next, I wasn't afraid, because nothing could prepare me for what she wanted. Yet somehow, I had given it to her.